Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco, and Russell Jackman. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And since we know how much Mr. Jackman loves the NBA and we're still in the playoffs, it's NBA assist men. All right?
Oh, okay.
You like that, Mr. Jackman? Oh, he dropped off. Holy smokes, we're going to have to wait for him to come back in.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. When we come back, I want to find out from you guys, what are the odds that the Suns are going to win the NBA championship? That would be the first time ever for those guys.
Well, the Suns, they've been on a tear.
I know at least once. Vern, I can't hear you.
You can't?
Yep. Some reason you're not in there, my friend. I see your mouth moving, but I don't hear anything. Don't tell me it's a monologue. Are you going to have to go back out and come back in again? Maybe that.
I hope not.
Because we are still recording right now. The show must go on, as they say.
Absolutely.
So, I'll continue on here, and at the next commercial break, I'm sure we're going to get Mr. Vern Glenn back on. I can see his pretty face, and I can see his pretty smile, but I can't hear anything, and he can hear me. Oh, it's a fun time tonight. Okay, and we also come back, talk a little Phil Mickelson. Holy smokes. 200-1 long shot, that rascal. And I want to ask you guys also, why are there so many no-hitters in baseball this year? I want to find out, get your perspective on that. And did LeBron get any special treatment, not getting suspended for his COVID violation? Get your take on that. And then this just happened. An NBA coach for the Connecticut Suns was fined for a complaining comment to a referee. We'll talk about that. It's kind of an interesting story there. All right. Let's see here. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 7%, secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. We've got the whole family here with everything working correctly. Faces. Well, we got Vern's face. Mr. Jackman is traveling for another lawyerly type thing. Isn't that right, Mr. Jackman?
Just stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on 101 north of the Civic Center. But who needs to see my face anyway? You guys have seen enough of it. The last two, I think. All
right, I'm going to ask you guys, what are the odds that the Suns, I don't know if they're the forerunner, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there, just the way that they're playing. What do you think the odds are that the Suns will win the NBA championship for the first time?
I don't think they'll win it all, but so long as they have, Chris Paul being a part of it, kind of directing. You got young guys like
Booker and
Aiden, guys. I mean, they've just got it. They just got it rolling. But just ask the Lakers, who were probably a little tired going into that one. I mean, the Suns were rested, so I'll be curious to see how the Lakers respond in Game 2 of that Western Conference Battle Royale.
Yeah, we saw last night. We saw how all the upset specials got it handed to them by both Portland getting clobbered by Denver and Milwaukee coming back and just absolutely just chomping.
Raining threes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that we've all gotten to a point where those 4-game sweeps in the first round are sort of a thing of the past.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's teams are going to find a way these days to win one in a 7-game series at least.
Speaking of win one, I mean, wouldn't you like to see the Knicks just win one in their
No. No, I'll say this flat out. No, I don't.
Come on, Mr. Jackman. Is there the first postseason appearance in since the Stone Age?
since the ball was square.
Look, with the Warriors having suffered the ignominious 2-game loss out of the play-in series, I'm fine if Atlanta wins the whole thing. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not the Clippers? I'd like to see a Clippers-Atlanta NBA Finals and turn the NBA on its ear. Someone that hasn't won an NBA championship should finally win one.
But now, did you actually say ignominious?
Yes.
And what does that mean? For us ignoramuses out here.
It means of questionable repute.
Okay.
Says
you-
says the lawyer.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just a blue collar guy. So using words like that is just over my head.
Yeah, I like simple sentences myself. Simple words.
Mine's white collar, but it's got blood spots on it. So
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. Staying with basketball. What do you think about LeBron? Quote, not did he get special treatment or did he not for not getting suspended for a COVID violation? Apparently, it didn't rise to the level of a suspension.
Well, was it a blatant violation? I'm unclear about that.
Apparently he did some kind of a promotional thing, and you're supposed to like make sure everyone's tested, vaccinated, yada yada. I don't know. It's
I'm
weird.
surprised. I'm surprised that when they didn't accuse him of that, they didn't fall on the ground and roll around for like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, flop. Well, I guess here's the question: what if this was an everyday player? I mean,
we've already seen that. We've already seen James Wiseman was suspended for like about 2 weeks due to COVID. And he didn't have COVID, but he didn't meet the COVID protocols, and they suspended him for I think
he forgot to get tested. He forgot to show
up. Right, but he didn't have COVID. It turned out he didn't actually have COVID.
Right,
and they still suspended him. Just the case. So LeBron James gets the star treatment when he walks out of the shower in the morning, and it follows him everywhere he goes.
But hasn't he earned the right though?
Yeah, but if his hamburger doesn't have cheese on it, he'll fall on the floor and roll around like he's been.
It's funny too because he's such a big, strong guy.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess maybe guys like that are afraid to get hurt. Some of it's acting, but some of it is still kind of a protection. Like I remember there was a friend of mine in high school who was just huge. In fact, he ended up playing for all of he had like 3 brothers who went into the NFL, and he was supposed to until he blew out his knee at Oregon. But in high school, I asked him if he wanted to play. We were having a little football pickup game in after school, and he just said, "No, don't want to do it. Don't want to get hurt." I'm going, whoa, you're the guy who's hurting people, not getting hurt. But
it doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, you could be the biggest guy, but you get poked in the eye, you get poked in the eye. I guess.
Yeah.
What about the legend of Jack Youngblood playing on a broken leg? There's guys, and what about Ronnie Lott cutting off the end of his finger so he could continue to play football?
Yeah, but that was just a pinky.
Okay. What I'm saying is, there was a wrestler by the name of Dr. Death Steve Williams, and in a match, he actually tore his eyelid. Okay, he went into the locker room, had it stitched up, and fought the next day in another town.
Well, if you remember,
that's a tough guy right there.
A few years ago, there was this player. I think he was a defensive, like a linebacker. It may have been front line, and there was a really bad fireworks. Exploded in his hand.
Paul.
I can't remember his name, but anyway, it was like, it was horrendous looking.
Yeah, it's Paul. It's the guy for the Giants, or he was on the Giants.
That's right. And then, but the thing is, they stitched that thing, or not stitched it, but they wrapped it. It looked like a club, and he played. A little hard to do, but they had to protect that thing. But that was the most gruesome hand I'd ever seen. Even worse than mine when I had my surgery.
Yeah, well, it's a big lesson that when you're over the age of 16, you probably shouldn't be fooling around with fireworks.
Probably not, especially if they're those, quarter stick of dynamite ones. Let's say it was an accident, of course. He wasn't like holding it and going, "Gee, I wonder what would happen if that." He's not that stupid. He's not that stupid. Okay, last thing before we cut to break here. So, an NBA coach for the Connecticut Suns gets fined, I think $10,000 for a complaining comment to the referee about his smaller player getting called for a foul against a player, a bigger player on the other team. And his comment basically was, how could that be a foul? Something along these lines. How could that be a foul? She weighs 300 pounds. And she doesn't weigh 300. She apparently weighs 238 or something, right? But
he was exaggerating.
He was exaggerating. Yeah, I mean, just
player.
basically, yeah. I mean,
Right.
And the thing is, he got fined $10,000, and you got to think that it all has to do with a man-woman thing, right? Because if he called out Shaq, Shaq was playing, he goes, hey, he weighs 400 pounds. How can you call a foul on my little guy? It wouldn't have been a big deal, right? And then it's funny because the player who weighs 230 pounds, 238, goes on Instagram and makes a racial comment because apparently the opposite race was the coach, and nothing's happening with her. It's kind of interesting. You have to kind of look that up.
Yeah.
It was all Instagram and everything. Okay, hey guys, we're going to get to our first commercial trivia question here, talking about NBA assist men. John Stockton amassed an incredible 15,806 career assists during his distinguished NBA career, becoming the all-time NBA assist leader on a pass to Karl Malone during the 94-95 season. Which other major statistics did he retire with as the all-time NBA leader? All right. So
I think I know this one.
So he was, he basically had he's the career holder for the NBA career assists with 15,000. But he also holds another major statistic when he retired. I mean, I don't know if it's been broken yet. And that's our trivia question. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question is, John Stockton amassed an incredible 15,806 career assists during his distinguished NBA career, becoming the all-time NBA assist leader on a pass to Karl Malone during the 1994-95 season. Which other major career statistics did he retire with as the all-time NBA leader? And Mr. Jackman thinks he knows the answer.
Well, one, I believe, is steals.
You said one, like meaning you're got three answers?
Yeah. And then I know that he led the league in turnovers.
Well, you got to choose one.
I'll take turnovers.
No, it was steals.
Oh, it is steals.
Which is why you are not a betting man.
Well,
I
know maybe after the weekend that Steph Curry had, he might be leading the league in turnovers with the way the Warriors played against both the Lakers and Memphis.
Too many. I mean,
he was definitely trying to get into the lead for that. He had, I think, 6 and 7 turnovers in those 2 games, and to me, that was what, as a Warriors fan, was so difficult to see. The Lakers beat us, and so did Memphis. I don't want to take away from John Morant. I don't want to take away from Davis and LeBron James's efforts. Yeah. But the Warriors had at least 10 to 11 what the hell kind of turnovers during the game, where I was shouting at the screen, my TV screen that no longer works. I was shouting at it and saying, what the hell are you guys doing? How can you throw the ball away like that?
That's the reason why your TV doesn't work. It's taking it out on you for yelling at it.
It's on strike. Well, then I subjected it to 3 of the worst Giants games that have occurred in the last 10 years, 12 years. And my TV just said, that's it. I'm not going to show you any more sports for.
No, I liked when they interviewed Kerr during during halftime, and she said, the commentator interviewer said, so what do you need to do to get back into this game? And he goes, well, if the guys would decide like they want to not throw the ball away,
Yes. I felt bad for Kerr because I thought he drew up a relatively good game plan, although there was a lot to be said about that final play against the Lakers, where the Warriors got a rebound and didn't know whether to call a timeout or drive the ball right up the floor and try to take a 3 with Curry.
That is so tough because in real time, you can plan for all kinds of things, but it's really, really hard. We can always second guess all this stuff, but I got to think that's got to be a really hard situation. Don't you guys agree?
Throughout the season, the Warriors have had trouble in whether they should have called timeouts or whether they should have taken the play. It's something that has come up again and again during this season with Kerr. And even Kerr himself has said he's made mistakes and not had the team ready in a situation to, know what to do when they get the ball. Whether they should have called a timeout. They had about 7.5 seconds when Curry got the ball. And, instead they just sort of futzed around, wound up with only 2.5 seconds to play, and they didn't even get a shot off and turn the ball over.
And didn't Memphis make a very big coaching blunder just before that?
No, this was the Lakers game. I'm talking about.
Okay, but the Memphis game though.
But if you're almost, you can talk about one game, and it's the same thing for both. So you're right about that. You're right.
Yeah. Bottom line, Russ is right. Boy, the turnovers killed him.
Yep.
And in both of those games, Warriors almost got away with it. I mean, if they didn't turn it over and made those shots, we're talking about a playoff series right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, how many points did they lose by? 3?
Only. Yeah.
3 points. So all it takes is, just have two less turnovers, if you can make your shots. That to me, it's always been that, and offensive rebounds has always been, they've gotten better at offensive rebounds, but the turnovers that just
the Warriors almost got away with it with them only going 3 deep on the bench. I mean, he had an 8-man rotation. That was it. Nobody else was getting in the game except for the 8 that he trusted. And he said after the season, this is something we got to look at. We got to look at depth. And then Bob Myers, general manager, said, we had a chance to get more free agents on the team, more seasoned guys. And he said that if Klay Thompson hadn't gotten hurt, then they would have gotten a whole lot more free agent guys that would have been more battle tested than the youngins that they ended up playing. But
interesting.
Again, this is would have, could have, should have. I mean, they got to get ready for the draft lottery and to see what Minnesota does, because they're top 3 protected, and then they got ready for the NBA draft, which is in late July.
And Curry's contract is up, but I don't think that'll be a problem. What's that? Yeah, he seems like he wants to stay. They love him.
Oh, of course.
Fans love him. I mean, they'll pay him what he's worth, and I don't think there'll be any problem on that. Let's see. Moving on to a little golf. Holy smokes, Phil Mickelson! If he can win, is there hope for the rest of us old guys?
Score one for the 50 guys.
Yeah.
Score one for that. 50 years, 11 months, 7 days, oldest ever major champion in the history of golf.
50, man, you hit the 50 mark, and boy, that's sand trap shot just was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You have Tom Brady still playing football. You have LeBron James still playing basketball. You have talk of Evander Holyfield, and we've had Mike Tyson get back in the ring.
Well, Manny Pacquiao is going to be playing. He's going to be boxing, and he's 46.
I think a lot of these guys are taking care of themselves, taking care of their body, just better conditioned. And we live in an age where some of these guys, they've got the conditioning coach, they've got the strength coach, they've got the nutrition coach, they've got the sports psychologist, and then they have regular practice with their teams or whatever, or the regular workout regimen. So these athletes today have just taken everything to a different level, and they've been able to play longer.
Yeah.
And Vern, there's also the payday. These guys see the money that's being handed out now when you are a winner. Back when, Joe Montana was playing and so forth, you'd be getting several $1 million, which would be nice, but body's future in for maybe, $1 or $2 million a season.
Yeah.
But now when you can make $60 million a season, I think guys are like, okay, even if I feel I'm too old, I'm going to get out there because the money is so good. I can't say no. Now in Phil Mickelson's case, that's a little different. But when you're talking, boxers getting in the ring in their 50s and maybe 60s, and could risk, getting severely hurt, but they'll do it because there's just so much money to be had.
Well, interesting. Aaron Rodgers gave up, I think, $500,000 by not going to practice. It was an optional practice. Something about that. You guys read about that?
Well, this is all about. I mean, with him, this is all about a negotiation and him ultimately getting what he wants, and he's one of the smartest guys I have ever known in sports. So that 500,000, it's coming his way one way or the other. So
Where do you think he wants to play? He wants to get out of Green Bay. Where do you think he wants to play?
Does he really want to get out of Green Bay?
Ah.
Does he? Does he really?
That's a good point. I guess everything's pointing toward it, but we don't know, do we?
Yeah. We think we know because we're on the outside.
Yeah.
But we just don't.
Does Deshaun Watson want out of Houston? Yes, I think he does.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit clearer, isn't it?
Yeah, he does.
I thought I just got to throw that in.
Yeah, they've made that atmosphere totally poison.
Wait, what's that last one? Say it again.
No, I was just saying they made the atmosphere there so poisonous.
Oh yeah.
For Deshaun, I don't know why he would want to stay, but it's weird to see this whole free agency come and go, and he's still there. I would really have thought they would have traded him somewhere before now, or at least tried to trade him for draft picks. But I think they wanted too much for him.
Maybe that'll come down as time goes a little closer to the season.
They're sellers now, not buyers. So yeah, they really, people know that that when they have to get rid of him, they will for cheap. But there's going to be some team. Every team is going to lose. So one team is going to at least lose their starting quarterback, most likely in preseason or in game 1 through 4, and they're going to need desperately a quarterback to fill in that spot, and that's where Deshaun may get some, and Houston may get some phone calls.
All right, hey guys, we're going to cut to our second commercial break here. Talking NBA assist men. Which great NBA passer spent long career stints with Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and New Jersey Nets? Back then, there were.
I think I know this one at least.
Yeah, I tried to make them. I tried not making them too hard for you guys. They're now called the Brooklyn Nets, but back then they were the New Jersey Nets. And it was in that order. So, which great NBA passer spent long career stints with Dallas, Phoenix, and then New Jersey in that order? All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101 one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. Our second trivia question about NBA assist men. Which great NBA passer spent long career stints with the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and New Jersey Nets in that order? Mr. Vern Glenn.
My guess is Jason Kidd.
You are correct.
Yeah.
I was going to say your hint should have been which Bay Area.
Yeah. Well, I kind of figured I knew you guys would know this. The next one is going to be a little harder. You'll
good. While I was in law school, there were classmates of mine that would miss class, evening class, so they could go out to see Jason Kidd play because they were convinced, and they said, this guy is going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. They were right.
They knew that when he was at St. Joseph's, didn't they?
Yeah,
St. Joseph's Alameda, right?
Yeah, just before he went to Cal, and he's always been a player.
They were going to St. Joseph's games because they knew
he played for the great Frank Laporte.
Okay, hey guys, moving on to baseball. Why do you think there's so many no-hitters this year?
Wow, man, that's it. It had something. I think isn't the major league record 7, and there's already been 6. Something like that?
Why is anyone surprised? My question is back the other way. Why is anyone surprised? No, hits don't matter anymore. It's home runs now. It's getting on base is almost meaningless.
Yeah, that actually could that would make a difference.
I'm not really surprised. I'm just kind of surprised by the guys that are doing it. I mean, Spencer Turnbull, Corey Kluber. I mean, non like
names
household
with
names.
names like that, you got to throw no hitters.
Yeah, I
Otherwise, you get
guess.
teased. Yeah, I just I
But
don't know. I think Russell, you make a really good point because that's what Babe Ruth used to strike out a lot because he was always trying to hit home runs. So the
and
part of the game
it's
hasn't
kind
changed
of
in 100 years.
it's almost chronic though this year. I mean, if you're batting 240, you're a good hitter in today's league. I mean, there's nobody even close. Most teams don't have maybe one player who's batting in like the 280s, and most of them are batting in the 230s, 220s. It's chronic. It's the ability for guys to put the ball in play when it isn't a home run is getting pretty awful, and you're seeing a lot of guys go through, games batting, 1 for 5 or 0 for 4 one day, and then 1 for 4 the next day, and
Wait,
that adds up. I don't think it's the great pitching so much. I think it's this sort of the lack of discipline on guys and just everyone swinging for the fences, and when they don't get a home run, then they strike out or pop fly it, and that turns into no hitters.
yeah, I was gonna say that the velocity of pitches. I mean, it's what maybe a little bit higher. I mean, the guys are not throwing 135 miles an hour, but
No, I mean, but they're hitting at 98.
yeah. But
Average.
yeah, I was gonna say that hasn't really changed too much in the last few years. So
I blame the hitting.
Yeah.
I don't credit the pitching. I blame the hitting.
could be the umpires with the strike zone being more
There's
generous.
some terrible strike zones.
I'm not really serious about that. I mean, it could be an
I
answer,
like
but I don't
the
think.
idea of a computer ump. I like the idea of it. I'm all for it. I mean, we've already let replay into the game, so you can't say that technology has no role in
True.
baseball, because it already has.
Yeah, but I could just see someone like Billy Martin kicking the dust on a computer, and then getting the dust in there, and it shorts out the whole thing. What do you mean?
Speaking of pitching, let me bring this up. Trevor Bauer, good for the game or bad for the game? And his taunting, man, you love to hate kind of persona that he's taken on.
I hate to say scoreboard, but after this weekend, he got the scoreboard on us, and that you win, you get to do what you want to do, but just remember, what comes around goes around. And I hope he can take it as well as he can dish it out, because when the Giants get back on those guys, especially hopefully this weekend, and we give them something down in LA, I hope we give him what he was giving us, and he can feel what it feels like.
Well, just remember, when the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby.
Thank you.
Remember that?
Thank you for the slogan.
Yes.
That's an old song.
I think the Giants are going to miss. They're going to miss Bauer this weekend, because I think Bauer. I mean, as we record the show, Bauer pitches during the week, and so the Giants will miss him in LA.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I don't know. One likes to see personality, a little excitement, but and it's sort of like in wrestling, where you like to have a bad guy, in the ring, just to kind of for everyone to hate. It kind of makes the sport more exciting. I don't know. I kind of go this way, back and forth, because you would like to be a professional.
Well, but here's my thing. I mean, and this is kind of a TV media type thing. I mean, so many times we get tired of the same old cliches. The guy that mails it in on the interview is like, oh, well, where's the personality? Where's the personality? Well, Bauer got personality, and he's showing it, and he's backing it up. So you finally have somebody like that. And my thing is, hey, if a team doesn't like it, win the game.
Yeah, that's true. It's sort of like what they should do with golf, because sometimes golf can get a little bit boring. Is you got to have some of the people in the stands, like, throw eggs right at a guy when he's ready to hit a shot, or something, yell out, go, hey, try to disrupt them. But golf is one of those things you need a little too much concentration. I don't think.
No, but have you seen the clip, the 45-second clip that's out there that's just trending like crazy? Brooks Koepka on Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, there is no love lost there. I mean, there's a, yeah, you pull it up. There's a 45-second clip of Koepka being interviewed by the Golf Channel, and Bryson DeChambeau walks by, with the metal spikes, kind of clapping along right behind him, and the reaction on Koepka is priceless. And then he dropped an expletive, after he walked by. I mean, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
look it up. I mean,
it's funny.
up there.
Back in the old days when, I don't know if you remember the name Marshall Holden for bowling. He was one of those guys who, most of these bowlers have no personality, but every once in a while you get somebody who's got something. And Marshall was one of those guys people just liked to hate because, he just had a big ego and he'd be just too demonstrative on stuff. But it got to the point where right when he was ready to bowl, as he was ready to release, people in the stands started making comments, yelling and stuff.
To try and break his concentration.
Exactly. It's just like golf. It's like you're supposed to be quiet. Right after the guy releases the ball, yell and scream all you want, right? And he would look to the stands and he would just say, something like, "Yeah, great, real classy guys." And eventually, I mean, they should have really instructed the fans. Listen, if you're going to make noise, you got to get out of here. Just I'm sure they do that in golf. But he
except for the Phoenix Open, where they encourage the cheering.
Okay.
Yeah,
they do.
No, while the guy is
just
always ready to shoot, ready to hit a club.
I mean, right after they hit.
No, right after. I'm talking about right before to break a guy's concentration.
Oh.
So Marshall, he ended up kind of changing. I don't know how he did it, but he ended up sort of changing his tune a little bit, and he wasn't so obnoxious, and so people kind of got behind him a little bit. Not quite as much as some of the really popular players, but at least they didn't heckle him as much. Because I mean, can you imagine your profession and people getting heckled you?
Yeah, well, in wrestling, that's the worst thing you can have happen. We used to have a quote, which is that, and the crowd goes mild. That is exactly what you don't want. If guys can't wrestle effectively if the crowd has no pop to it.
Yeah.
So it's the exact opposite.
Sure.
Wrestlers wrestle better when there is a huge crowd, even angry folks.
I mean, obviously it's a different kind of sport. It's not as precision, like hitting a golf ball and that sort of thing. You need concentration, obviously, but like you said, I could definitely see getting all excited. Same thing like football, right? You don't need to be completely quiet in order to do your craft. In fact, the more wild the crowd is behind you, the better you probably end up doing.
I'd like to try it in TV. Maybe I could just say something during the sportscast and go,
yeah. Exactly.
but it doesn't work because there's no live audience. They're live, but they're not in studio.
Yeah. I could just imagine you. It's like you're there and you're supposed to interview somebody and like go say a golfer, right? And just before he's ready to shoot, hit his club, you put the microphone right in his face.
Yeah.
I don't think your employers would appreciate that too much.
Someone's been watching.
What club are you using on that shot?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's funny. Boy, I wish the audience could. There's audience. You're gonna have to go to YouTube and YouTube Sports Econ 101 because you got to see sometimes Vern's face when he makes these comments. Otherwise, the audience is kind of listening and going, okay, well, I guess that's kind of funny, but I got to see it. I got to see it in person. So you got to go to
right.
That's the first time I've ever, we celebrated 8 years last week. You know that?
Really?
8 years.
I didn't get you anything.
Thanks. No, you got me the same thing you got me last year.
Yes.
So, but I think that's the first time I've actually mentioned, oh, by the way, we've got a YouTube channel, Sports Econ 101. So people can kind of watch how the radio show is being done.
Most people that have the YouTube shows, they go, hey, subscribe to it at the bottom of the screen and click like.
That's right, and send $5. I've seen some ones like Facebook where it's like, you want to see the full video on this, send $5 a month, and I guess I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
I
If
can't
you
even
wanna hear
influence
what
my kids at
really-
home. What can I say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, today is my daughter's first job out of grad
First
school.
day on the job?
First day on the job, and she got the job with the company that she wanted. And it's funny because she says, well, they're not paying as much as I'd like. And I said, I get it, but you know what? It's not all about the money. Eventually the money will come. You're getting a job with a company that you really like, so you'll be happy. And then you prove yourself and you show that, because she's phenomenal. She's definitely the kind of person you'd want to employ. I said, they'll move you up. And if not, then you'll find another company that's similar. But coming out of grad school, you only have so much experience. I'm very happy. She went through like 4
Well,
interviews.
good for her.
Yeah, 4 interviews. Okay. All right, here we go. Here's our third trivia question about NBA assist men. This journeyman player may be an unexpected name among the leaders in career NBA assists, but he deserves to be there. Playing for the Knicks, Spurs, Trailblazers, Wizards, Heat, Timberwolves, Magic, Raptors, and Rockets. Which assist king is being referred to here? I figured this one was a little bit harder. I gave you 2 softball questions in the beginning. This one's a little bit harder. You'll definitely know the name.
He is the assist leader, or he is
It says
leader?
What?
Yeah, no. It just says he's a journeyman player. He's among the leaders, so he's not the career.
So
And give me the teams.
Because John Stockton
Oh, God.
was one, right? So, but
Give the
definitely,
teams and
all right. So anyway, he played for a lot of teams. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments.
we need
Here
to have
we
an
go.
extra
All
10
right,
minutes.
we're back now. Okay, welcome to Sports Econ 101. We're back again. This journeyman player may be an unexpected name among the leaders in career NBA assists, but he deserves to be there. So he's among the leaders, but he's not the leader. Playing for the Knicks, Spurs, Trailblazers, Wizards, Heat, Timberwolves, Magic, Raptors, and Rockets. That's 9 teams. Which assist king is being referred to here?
Mark Jackson?
No, because I would have
No,
mentioned Indiana on that one.
Yeah, he wasn't traded that much.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with Rod Strickland.
You are correct.
Hey,
Yes.
all right.
Mr.
Yes.
Jackman, I am very impressed. 3 for 3.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
Well, no, you
yes,
missed
I did know the
one.
Jason. Well, I
said
think
turnovers.
at one point Stockton was the leader in turnovers, and that may have been something
may
that
have changed.
since I last checked, he may have.
Okay. All right, guys, you ready? You ready for
lost that
here's our
title.
thoughts of the day.
Oh, goody. Here we
All right,
go.
here we go. Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it becomes a soap opera. Isn't that good? Okay. And this one, I laughed out loud when I read this one. This is funny. Okay. And my son Luke loves that we named him after a Star Wars character. My daughter Chewbacca, not so much. I like that one. Every time I read that one, I just
That's a
crack
good one.
up. Yeah, my daughter Chewbacca. Okay. All right. Tune in next week too, Sports
It's
Econ
better
101.
than being named Jar Jar.
I was going to say Jar Jar Binks. I was thinking about that one, but no,
I'd
I
rather
like
be named
Chewbacca a
after
little bit
Chewie I'd rather be named after Chewbacca than Jar Jar. How about that?
I like Jar Jar. I don't know why everyone doesn't like it, but Misa say, I like that.
Oh gosh.
Okay, all right. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
So long. See you guys.